Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Today's first story comes from a deleted user from the TrueOffMyChest subreddit. The first parts of the post were from over a year ago, but recently it's got a new update as well. So as always, if you want to skip certain parts of it, please feel free to do so. Timestamps are always down in the description and along the timeline below. Thank you. It's titled, "My sister is seeing a married man and I got beaten because of her. I have no idea where my idiot sister is because she went on vacation with her friends. All I know is that I'm going to pull her hair out when I see her. My sister and I go to the same university. Although we are only 3 years apart, we are almost identical, and people always confuse us for twins. And today I suffered because of that resemblance we have, because soon after I left my university to go to my car, a lady threw herself on me to start dragging me by the hair while she was yelling at me a lot of things and insults. By pure instinct, I also began to fight. Honestly, at that moment, I thought that some homeless person had an attack of dementia or something. I pulled her by the hair until my friends separated her from me. The woman was crying, and behind her there were 2 more women who were with her and arguing with my friends. The woman was yelling at me that I'm her husband's slut, and I didn't understand anything about what was happening. But at that moment, my mind clicked because I know that my sister is dating with an older man. She doesn't tell me much about him, but she shows me the gifts he gives her. I told the woman that she was looking for my sister. Basically, the people who were with her yelled at me that I must be just as slutty as my sister. I'm not, I think, and tried to fight again, but the police approached us and it was all too messy. Now my scalp is full of scratches, my back is scraped by the asphalt and my hair hurts too much. And my sister doesn't answer my calls to explain what the hell she did before I tell my mother what happened. I know that if I tell my parents about this, they might even stop paying for my sister's education, because it's not the first time she's done something like this. I'm going to tell them, yes, but first I need to talk to my sister. The humiliation of having been beaten up at my university for something I didn't do is too bog. I don't know if that's an actual thing or that's a mistype. It gives me chills to think about coming back on Monday and that the people who saw us believe that I am to blame for when my sister was the culprit. Poor woman. I do feel empathy for her, but I didn't deserve that beating. My sister is not a good person at all, so it's easy to see her in a situation like this. At least she should have asked my name before that. I mean, I'm not sure what your parents are going to be doing in this situation, but I would tell them first anyway. I wouldn't let your sister get around you and give her version of events, etc., which we see all the time in these stories. People like that will worm their way around and try and create some version of the story that doesn't make them look so bad. She's the one who decided to have an affair with this guy. He's equally as bad in this situation. And her choices are the result of you being physically attacked, and she's not even answering her phone. And look, I get that the wife is a victim in this affair situation, but that doesn't give her a right to just go around attacking random people. Clearly, when she hasn't got 100% definitive proof that you were the person, because she got the wrong person. And you mentioned this wasn't your sister's first incident like this that could cost her education funding. She's putting you at risk through her choices now, and she doesn't really give a shit about it. Commenter says to OP, exactly my point. We don't know what the husband is telling his girlfriends. The wife and her thugs need to visit Mr. Wonderful. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if my sister knows. She likes to be the mistress, and it's something she says out loud, and even my parents know. It's something she enjoys. She was the mistress of men close to me and my parents. So she's walking a tightrope because last time a strong situation happened and my parents are tired of her behavior. Weary says, bruh, I'd get that woman's number and call her when your sister gets back and deliver the devil to your sister's doorstep. That's the only way she will learn that her actions have consequences. Opie says, I told the woman that my sister was going to be back next week. I don't know if she will look for her, but if she does, I hope she won't get confused again. Commenter replies saying, no, you can't hope this woman doesn't get confused. This woman and her friends are out for blood. Press assault charges immediately and see if you can get a restraining order. You need to document her assault on you with the police. You can't allow yourself to be a punching bag for your sister's mistakes. Opie says, I pressed charges. I said it in the post. Obviously it's a throwaway, says your sister repeatedly sleeping with older married men is such a huge red flag. Everyone is so hung up on her being a homewrecker, which isn't even a thing unless she pursued and manipulated him into being with her, which I highly doubt. Your sister needs help. Does she have a history of trauma that you might not know about? Edit, why am I being downvoted for being honest? Nothing I'm saying is a lie, as far as I know. The truth is inconvenient sometimes. My stance on the issue of cheating is more than homewrecker bad, burn at stake. Maybe married men should be faithful. That would completely neutralize the issue of homewreckers. 2024, you think people would realize that hating on the mistress does nothing to prevent or address cheating? Opie replied saying, what trauma? She likes to fuck married people. Not just old mans are married, and she's not a minor. Because she likes to have money and sex without the responsibility of being the wife. She just likes to be the mistress, and she's always says that. My sister finds the responsibility of being a wife stupid and prefers to just have fun. I know my sister better than anyone, and yes, she's a homewrecker who enjoys being one. Edit, yes, we ended up at the police station, and I filed charges against her, even though she apologized to me a lot once she calmed down a little bit. To be honest, her friends were worse than her in the sense of wanting to keep fighting when it was all over. But anyway, that doesn't justify that the fall hit the wrong person. For now, I'm just going to wait for my sister to come back because I want to say everything with her present, so that she can't run away from our parents. It's not the first time my sister has messed with a married man. The OP repeated a couple of lines again, but then said even if my sister tried to change the story, my parents wouldn't believe her. But for those trying to defend her, she's not a girl. She's a grown woman that keeps getting in trouble without any consequences. I know my sister better than anyone, and yes, she's a homewrecker who enjoys being one. So it was a week after this that OP came in with an update and said, hi, my sister came back from her vacations a few days ago. I waited for her to come back because I didn't want her to run away from telling our parents what happened, and I wanted her to be the one to tell them everything. My sister lives with our parents. No, she's not a teenager. She's almost 30. I don't know why someone in the comments said that she was suffering from grooming when she's 28. There's even plus 40-year-old people in college, and anyways, you need to be an adult to be there. So when she arrived, I was already there. When my parents asked me what the hell happened to me, I told them to wait for my sister to come talk about it, so they already knew that this was about her. Many people don't understand that there are people who like to be the second and enjoy the feeling that they can sleep with anyone, even with a forbidden one, and my sister is that type of person. Since she was a teenager, she flirted with her friends' boyfriends. She did it to measure her value with others, but she never flirted with any of my boyfriends. At least she has her limits. Now that she is older, she likes to sleep with married men. For her, it's better to receive gifts and fun without the pressure of being the wife. Her words, we discussed this many times. At the end of the day, it's all a self-esteem and ego problem that my sister has. She needs to know that she can get whatever she wants. Anyway, a few days ago, the cheating man had sent a message to my sister telling her that his wife beat him and kicked him out of the house after she found out about his affair with my sister. The woman found my sister's Instagram and sent her messages telling her to stay away from her family because apparently the man took their kids to some of the dates with my sister, and my sister, who is a big idiot, followed the fight with a woman insulting her. She showed me the chat and was clearly encouraging the woman to fight, calling her names, etc. And that's how I ended up getting beaten. According to my sister, she didn't believe that the woman was really going to hit her. But then I started to message her and she basically ignored me because she didn't want to get that kind of stress, and also because she knew she screwed up. Honestly, so many comments told me that my sister was not to blame for anything that I began to believe it, until I saw the messages she sent to that woman almost begging for a beating, and stopped feeling any kind of empathy for her. She's not a good person and never was. I was furious, but my mother was even more angry. It's not the first time my family has been affected because of her sexual adventures. This time we did not lose money or friends, but I was physically attacked, which is worse. My sister justified herself by saying that she is single and has no responsibility for any marriage. But my mother told her that we all suffer because of her problematic behavior, and that morally she's helping to ruin the lives of many people because of her ego. It all ended with my sister throwing a tantrum like always, and even blaming me for looking like her. But this time my father kicked her out of the house with her things. I found it a little sad that my own parents apologized to me for their adult daughter's behavior. In the end of the day, I feel sad to see my parents and other people because of her behavior. And about the woman, she contacted me the next day I got beaten and was really sorry. She said she would pay for any medical expenses, but I'm fine. She sounded much calmer without her friends and told me that she had never done anything like that, but she felt a very strong hatred for my sister and her ex because of how they talked about her with the children. Although she sounded really regretful, a large part of me wanted her to kick my sister's ass. That's not going to happen. Even if that doesn't make me a good person, I would have liked to see that. I'm sorry for the boring update, but not much happened except that. She didn't send me a message or anything like that. Anyway, I just pray that my parents don't talk to her so I can see her as little as possible. And then it was a year and 2 months later that OP came in with another update and said, "Hi, I remembered this account and was about to delete it, but I kept getting messages about my posts. So before I delete this, I'm going to give one last update about what happened this year. Basically, my sister is pregnant. She has a new boyfriend. Do the math. So she started talking to my parents again. They hadn't spoke to her for a few months until the pregnancy news. And well, she knew very well that our parents wouldn't leave her alone during that time. I hope she changes with time and that motherhood helps her improve. Although I doubt it since she's treating our mother like a free maid. My mother now has to wash her clothes by hand and cook 24/7 for my dear sister who can't lift a finger. Our parents are older people with their own physical problems, but she doesn't understand that. I don't judge my parents. They're worried about the baby, and my sister is really good at manipulating people, especially our parents. My parents spent months distancing themselves from her, and now she found the best method to make them feel sorry for her. A baby. They know that she is not responsible. Her boyfriend is a normal boy, but he doesn't even have his own place. And right now they live with his parents, which worries my parents. I've heard that the boy's mother has been telling them that she wants them to move out. I'm not going to be away from my parents, who I love, but all family gatherings with the two of them are at my house from now on. I definitely prefer to save myself the surprise visits she makes at their house. I think people with a troubled sibling but loving family will understand this dilemma. On a different note, I become casual friends with the woman who hit me. I'm sorry, but I'm not woke enough to condemn a woman for hitting her idiot husband and his mistress, even though she hit me. I'm not sorry to disappoint the comments who wanted to see that woman in prison because if a man does it, he would go to prison. She's really kind and actually spent weeks apologizing to me. She also got her friends to apologize to me. So in the end, I forgave her. I'm not going to hate her for being human. And I made her pay money for my damaged hair and I did press charges. Anyway, actions have consequences for everyone. I feel like a lot of people in the comments live in a strange fantasy and give their opinions if they don't know how the real world works. Many also reflected their own traumas, and I received messages calling me a bad sister, which doesn't bother me because maybe I am. I'm tired of trying to help a narcissist. I received messages like, "She's a bad person, you should report her and get her imprisoned." Guys, that doesn't happen in the real world for a ghetto fight. There are men who kill their families and police do nothing. We're not close friends, but we've met up a few times. She hasn't divorced because of lack of money, but she's not with that man, and they don't live together. She's really kind, and to be honest, now that I know her, I'm going to continue justifying her reaction to hitting that man. He recorded stuff for my sister with his kids in the same room. I've heard the dirty audios he sent my sister with the kids' voices in the background. Fuck him. I would have hit him worse. I don't know how much these audios help in the divorce, but I hope they are of good help to her. Exposing minors to this type of content should be punishable by jail. But the world is not fair. That woman's only mistake was hitting me and not my sister. But that's a frustration I'll carry with me for the rest of my life. Her children love her, and I know she's a good person. Honestly, I would have reacted in a worse way, which does not mean that it is ideal, but losing your mind is sometimes part of being human. I'd like to see my sister get what's coming to her someday, but the world isn't a fair place and she always comes out on top in the end. That's the messy update, but honestly, I just wanted to vent because yesterday I saw my sister treat my mother badly under the excuse of pregnancy hormones. The only thing that relieves me is knowing that my parents support me in my decision to meet at home or outside from now on. Anyway, I hope someone hits her one day. I remember that many people wondered what problem my sister caused in my family that cost us money. My father used to work as a security guard in a house. He earned good money until my sister in her 20s had an affair with my father's boss, a young guy who lived with his girlfriend. The girlfriend found out my father was fired because of her at the request of that boy's girlfriend. My father lost his job at a difficult time in our country. He received some money for the lawsuit he made after being fired, but it was still too little compared to what he earned working there. Money that did not last long in times of political crisis. Even electricity can be worth a third of a salary. Bit of a frustrating ending to that story in the end, I think. Sister facing pretty much zero consequences by the looks of it. She lost the parental support for a few months, etc. But then she got pregnant and now is weaponizing that to get back in and manipulate her parents. It sounds like Opie has set some boundaries for herself with her sister, which is a good thing. Not quite sure what she was going on about, the woke enough to condemn a woman for hitting her idiot husband and his mistress. And I absolutely think people should face consequences for going around hitting random people like that. But also do understand at the same time that the police don't get involved in everything. When I was growing up, when I was younger, there was a lot of these kind of fights that went on with zero consequences for the aggressor in the situation. As I told you before, there used to be a guy that lived around my area, had a family, all this sort of stuff. Hints that he was a dealer or whatever. He used to come out like on a summer's day in the middle of the street with a pair of like real nunchucks and was doing this thing where he's like flipping it over in his shoulder each way, and he would stand there for ages doing it. I've seen him chase someone with those and have zero consequences for it. Again, not excusing it. All I'm saying is what I saw when I was younger. The guy was absolutely wild. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from the relationships subreddit from PseudoOptics, who says, my 23 male friend, 20 female, invites/begs me to accompany her on unnecessary shopping trips, then asks me to pay for gas. I come from the city, so I'm a veteran public transportation rider. I attend the university where the public transportation isn't in abundance but still reliable. Recently, my friend has gotten a new car and in excitement has been using it frequently. This has led to her asking and later begging me to join her on trips to the store, mall, anywhere off campus. At first, I agreed to these trips since she was still in that freedom phase of owning a car. After a few weeks, she had started demanding gas money for her service. I would normally pay for all my goods and services, but I'm baffled at this. She invites me on these little runs willingly, and mostly to places I do not need/care to go. I've told her often that I would rather use public transportation as my university student fees pay for it. When I turn her down, she asks again or passive-aggressively comments on not spending time with her. I do not have a lot of money compared to her. She comes from a rich family and has a fair bit of cash on her at all times. I do not understand the underlying issue or how to address it. Edit 2. I am gay. I am Broadway musical, show tune singing, mall going. If I have money and take the bus, gay. Why this is important? I don't know. But apparently you guys think from my inbox that I'm trying to sleep with her. No. Just no. Commenter says, who was downvoted by the way, she's using you because she can. You want to fuck her. She wants your money and for you to be a shoulder to cry on. She's going to keep using you until you realize this and wake up. She's not going to fuck you. Move on. Edit, yes, I know you didn't say you want to fuck her, but it's painfully obvious. Otherwise, how is she even a friend if she treats you like such crap? Opie replied saying, I'm gay, and she knows I find her very unattractive. The commenter replied laughing and said, wow, why the fuck is she even a friend then? Get rid of the B. He sounds like a lovely person, doesn't he? What a fucking asshole. Opie says she has other great qualities as a friend. This started recently and came out of left field. I've thought the car has changed her. She's become more entitled, but in a joking manner. She joked about going to the university and demanding they give her a personal/reserved parking space. I didn't know if this is a phase and it'll wear off in a few days, or if this is the real her. Opie replied to another commenter saying, I paid her for the first month when this started to happen, since I actually got something for her trips. From her trips. I figured, why not? But then this got increasingly worse and gas isn't cheap. It's not even a pay half sort of deal. It's a pay all. Ooh, bloody cheeky so-and-so. Opie says, if I was pining for sex, I'd go for her attractive older brother. Though no amount of him would make her actions okay. Commoner says, you straight up tell her to stop asking if she expects you to pay for her gas. Commoner replies saying, this was an open and shut case. And that's absolutely it, isn't it? It's someone just taking advantage of a situation. I'd never do that to one of my friends. Whether it is just that freedom phase of driving a car, which I remember, I was out all the time in my car when I first got my license. But still, I didn't take advantage of friends in this way. Opie did update the post and says, as stated before, her actions are relatively recent. She hasn't been a bad friend since I met her. She's one of those super hulock theater pushover Tumblr gals. Her words, not mine. So this took me by surprise. What does that mean? Apparently super hulock refers to someone who was heavily into the 2010s Tumblr fandom culture. That's new to me. I decided to sit her down in a public place and speak with her about the issue. I told her that I don't have a lot of money and I won't flip the bill on trips she invites me to. Of course, she got angry. She stated that I shouldn't use her and I was a bad friend. I ended up giggling in reply, as I do when I'm nervous. This infuriated her. She went on a long-winded monologue about how she knows my type and how since she's from Long Island, I think she has money, blah blah blah. When she finally stopped, I informed her that that was not the case. I explained that I don't care about her parents' money but our friendship. After further discussion, she started to tear up. Turns out that though mummy and daddy bought her the car and was providing her with gas money, an allowance per se, she was saving up for something she wanted. This something was a $5,000 trip to have her online boyfriend fly up this summer and put him in a ritzy hotel. Her parents didn't approve of her relationship, so they would not fund it. Apparently she's been hustling people out of their money in order to fund the trip, or continuing her luxury lifestyle. I believe she expected me to feel some sort of sympathy for her. She was teary-eyed and sniffling about true love and how she is doing this to meet the one. I couldn't take it. I ended up explaining to her that she cannot use people as human ATMs and that even though she is a nice girl, I don't appreciate her doing ugly things. She babbled on about how I wouldn't understand because love or some shit. I sighed and ended my friendship with her on the spot. I spent a lot of time with this girl and collected several good memories, but someone who refuses to see their own wrongdoings is not for me. Edit. Wouldn't really classify her as Tumblrina. She likes Tumblr culture, but she isn't as radical and insane as the ones I've seen online. Edit 2. Still very much gay. Commenter says to OP, I often wonder what the ceiling is for people like this in terms of personal growth. I know a lot of people who were entirely self-centered and ridiculous like this in their teens, who turned it around and became mature, great humans. However, I've not met many people who are able to grow past such behaviors after they hit 20. I don't know if it's some sort of critical period or if I'm just entirely wrong, but it just seems like when a person is still treating other people like props in their life by the time they're supposed to be at least somewhat personally independent and responsible, the future is bleak. Let's hope that your ex-friend learns how to be a regular human person sometime in the future. However, you're making the right move, not waiting around to find out if she does. Exiled says she's toxic. Good for you for ending your friendship, which is debatable if you could call it that. Scammer says many selfish people simply do not realize they're selfish. They think people just don't understand their needs. Once you start lying, you're a next level shitbag. Shitbag. Bringing Sassy back says, why the hell does he need to be in a nice hotel? I've stayed in so many shitty hotels to be with my fiance because we're young and we know it's fucking stupid to blow money like that. It's being together that counts. Ugh. Congrats on dumping a greedy, stupid, and selfish friend. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.